What's up, everybody? It's your girl Megan, show fitness instructor, and today I'm going to be going over the deltoids. Where do they originate? Where do they insert? And their actions, as well as some fun facts. But before I get into that, for those of you that are tuning in for our first time, maybe you haven't heard of us before, Show Up Fitness, where great trainers are made. I'm going to be our in-person instructor here in La Jolla, as well as our director of CPTs. So make sure you guys reach out to me, whether you're commenting down below on this YouTube, message me on Instagram at ACT7VE, or message me at my email, megan@showupfitness.com. Go ahead, reach out to me so I make sure you have all your questions answered and are on the right path to make this a successful career. Now let's get to it. The deltoids. I think this is one muscle that most people commonly know of when it comes to anatomy in general. A lot of time, this is going to be your typical shoulder muscle. As you guys have found, if maybe you're in our level 1 course or have been following us for a while, you'll know that there's actually 17 muscles around the shoulder, not just the deltoids themselves. But the deltoids would be considered your typical shoulder muscle. So the deltoids are actually one muscle in 3 parts. Those 3 parts are going to be front, side, and back. So the front side is going to be called the anterior side. The side is going to be called lateral or medial, and then the back is going to be called posterior. Now, when we look at where they're at, where they originate on the body, we're going to look at the skeleton. We have this bone right here, the clavicle. We have the backside, the shoulder blade, the scapula itself, but part of the scapula, we're going to have the spine of the scapula and the acromion right here, as well, of course, this humerus right here. So when we're looking on scalene, where does originate? Originate, it's going to be the closest point to the center, and this is where it's not going to be moving. And so when we look at the anterior side, we're looking at the clavicle portion here, the lateral third of the clavicle. When we look at the lateral side, we're going to be looking at the acromion of the scapula, the lateral side, so it's going to be on the outside of this kind of bony part right here. And then lastly, on the posterior side, we're going to be looking at the spine of the scapula. So although the deltoids have 3 different points of originations where they originate from, they're going to have the same insertion point. And so they're going to all start up here and they're going to go down into the bone, this bone, once again, called the humerus. And if you go down about just above halfway, a third down of the humerus, you're going to get this kind of bony triangle portion of it. It's going to be called your deltoid tuberosity of the humerus. So sometimes it might be hard to picture that, but just think of the deltoid itself. They are actually a bigger muscle than you would think. They're going to be all the way up from here and go all the way down here. Origination, insertion. Now next is going to be actions. So there's a lot of different actions when we look at the deltoids, and it's important that you guys pay attention to this, especially when it comes to programming. So the anterior side, once again, that front side is going to be looking at flexion of the humerus. You're also going to see horizontal adduction as well as internal rotation, which you can see here. You can also see there as well. And you're also going to have adductions going back to the body's midline, as well as scaption about 30 degrees or so from horizontal adduction going up there. Those are the actions of the anterior side. The front side, when we look at the lateral side, we're only going to see 2 here. That's going to be abduction, going away from the body's midline, as well as scaption itself. Now, it's important to note, if you guys saw my other video on the supraspinatus, that muscle is going to be important when it comes to this action here, abduction. Because of the line of pull where the deltoids are out, it's going to be parallel to that. So they're actually not going to be able to help with that first roughly 10 to 15 degrees. That's where the supraspinatus is going to kick in to initiate that movement, abduction. Then after that, you're going to see the lateral or medial deltoid kick into about 90 degrees for that abduction there. So a little fun fact for you guys to know. Now, the last one is going to be the posterior deltoid, which I think this one is a great one because a lot of times people neglect the posterior deltoid. A lot of times we're always pushing, going up, going forward, not really going backwards. And so when we look at the posterior deltoid, there's going to be a lot of actions. We're going to see extension of the humerus. When I bring it back, we're going to see external rotation out there as well as out there. We're going to see horizontal abduction. You're also going to see adduction as well as scaption there. Now, the great thing about this is I know that anatomy can be very confusing, especially when we're getting more into detail about it, but it is great being a part of Show Up Fitness because we can reach out to other fitness professionals in the industry as well as reach out to our own instructors because there's some actions on here that were not in the anatomy book that I have. And so I reach out to the main guy, Travis. He's going to be TravFlex on YouTube, so you can go ahead and follow him there, as well as the same on Instagram. I reach out to him. He's our anatomy guy, the wizard of everything. And so he informed me of a couple actions that weren't in the book that I have, but he did so much digging to kind of uncover all the actions that these muscles do. So we cross-checked, facts-checked, all of those things. So if you're seeing some extra ones on there that you didn't see and maybe the Siegs and Adam book, things have been updated. And so that's why it's also good to stay on top of new information that comes out. Make sure you're in the loop because things may change, things may be added, different, not just talking about anatomy wise, but also when we look at exercise wise, different variations, what's going to be more optimal and what's going to be more beneficial, how you're performing it. And going off of exercise variations, like I mentioned, there's a lot of exercises that either we're just doing the anterior and the lateral or medial side of the deltoid, but there's an exercise variation that we like to do here a lot at Show Up Fitness that's going to hit all three parts of the deltoid, and we call them rotational T's. What's going to happen, what you're going to do here is there's going to be three parts that's going to help that. So when I come up here, pretend I have a dumbbell, I'm come up here, that's going to be having flexion of the humerus, right? So I'm hitting the anterior portion of the deltoid. When I go back out here, I don't hit skelly, horizontal abduction, that's going to hit the posterior deltoid. Obviously I come back down, but then I come up abduction, that's going to be the lateral or medial side of the deltoid. Exercise that you guys can do to hit all three parts of the deltoid. Put it as an accessory, put it as a finisher at the end of the workout. And this is one of the main reasons why here at Show Up Fitness, we emphasize knowing your anatomy, the knowledge portion behind becoming a personal trainer. Because when it comes to programming, it's going to be so beneficial when you know the actions that these muscles do, where they originate, where they insert. Because also if you have a client that comes in and they have an injury, how can you work around it? When we're looking at the planes of motion, we're looking what is safe for them, what they can do. This is why here at Show Up Fitness, our interns are able to program in less than 5 minutes because anatomy produces confidence. And you're going to be so confident in programming, it's going to be so much faster and easier. So once again, just a quick recap for those of you that are watching. Where the deltoids are going to originate is going to be the lateral third of the clavicle. You have the acromion of the scapula, lateral side, as well as the spine of the scapula. All three of them are going to insert into the deltoid tuberosity of the humerus, and they're going to have several actions that we mentioned. Now, this is just one of the 17 muscles that I mentioned earlier that you guys would have to know if you want to become a level 1 SUF-CPT. And of course, on top of the 20 muscles around the hip, being able to name our 8 core movement patterns with agonist and synergist muscles and design a program on the fly with explanations, all in under 15 minutes. And that's why our test and internship course is going to prepare you guys for success, because you guys are going to feel so confident with the information that you leave with here, as well as the connections that you make, that you're going to go out into this fitness industry and you're absolutely going to crush it. That's why we have our top trainers at Equinox and Lifetime that we've partnered with, at small independent gyms that they're crushing it because they have all the tools that they've learned here and they're applying it out in the real world. We teach you guys how to critically think. And so if you guys are serious about becoming a successful personal trainer and you're interested in our internship, once again, I said we have it here with myself in La Jolla, as well as up in Santa Monica. We also offer our online CPT, which is occurring daily, live and recorded calls, going year round, so you can hop in whenever you want. We have a free 14-day trial that you can go ahead and start now so you get an idea of what the course looks like. And of course, we have weekend seminars occurring every couple months or so. The next one is going to be May 18th up in Sacramento. If you would like to see myself and our other instructors, make sure you go ahead and head out there. And if you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe so you do not miss out on any new content or videos that we have to provide for you guys. And of course, as always, if you guys want to become a great, successful personal trainer, all you got to do is show up.